So I'm going to show my beautiful wife, Crystal. Crystal, say hello.
Hello, everyone.
I'm going to show my beautiful wife, Crystal, a series that's helped me out a lot over the last year, and it's called The Rise of Bangtan. This is the first episode, and the series is still ongoing right now. I believe there's still 2 episodes in the works.
Okay.
But it's a great way to kind of explain BTS's story. And I don't want to give you too much information, but I do want to let the audience know that you don't really know much about BTS.
Almost next to nothing.
Yeah, next to nothing, which is fine. That's kind of where I started as well. But this series does a great job of explaining it. Big fan of Aneesa, is the creator of this series.
Okay.
And this should be fun. So this is going to be the first episode of The Rise of Bangtan. And what do you say we get right on into it?
Let's do it. Where's your...
Where's my what?
Someone's asking where your...
My army hat is?
Yes.
It's over there. It's just not very breathable for long streams. So I'll be bringing the army hat back soon. All right, just watch the YouTube video there. Just want to see where her face is.
Oh, she said, oh my gosh, it looked like you shaved your hair, but it was my resolution.
All right, there you go. That should be perfect right there.
Oh, okay, so this is like a documentary series, kind of explaining the band?
This is a very good documentary series, yes. Wait, what are we doing? You're watching the wrong screen. Here we go. Subtitles, perfect.
2013년 1월 7일 랩몬스터의 일지. 새로운 한 해가 밝았다. 방 PD님이 어제 나에게 말씀을 해주심으로써 뭔가 구체화된 것 같다. 그리고 집에 가서 혼자 자기 전에 앉아서 많은 생각들을 했다.
That's RM. He's the leader.
각성하고 포텐셜을 한번 폭발시켜볼 생각이다. 인생을 마음먹은 대로 살되 마음대로는 살지 않겠다. 그렇게 다짐하고 올해는 정말 나의 해로 만들고 싶다는 생각뿐이다. 그래서 이렇게 2013년 1월 7일 랩몬스터일지 끝.
They do those little diary things all the time. Look at that crowd.
It's insane.
This whole phenomenon around Korean entertainment is interesting because people are adopting it as a lifestyle.
Well, K-pop is Korean pop, and the thing that is just most remarkable about it is that it really is the all-in-one package. K-dramas, your K-food, the K-beauty. It really rolls into one, and you start slowly but surely kind of getting into the entire K-culture.
How big is the K-pop market? $3.4 billion. Wow. They can sell out shows really quickly. We're talking about arena shows that can sell out in about 2 hours.
It's this really diverse, young audience who are so enthusiastic.
Psy's Gangnam Style was the one that put it, on the world's radar. But
Do you remember that song?
Yes, I do.
Gangnam Style. Psy, he's actually got.
He's right there.
That's him right there. He's actually got a new song out right now with Suga, who's a member of this band, called That. Maybe I'll show you that after this documentary. But it's actually really good. This guy's incredible. I can't wait to spend more time with him. But yeah, he's kind of like what put everything on the map, or them on the map on a worldwide stage. He gave them a worldwide platform, and from there it just kind of trickled and exploded into the phenomenon that it is now.
Psy isn't even necessarily the archetype K-pop Korean celebrity.
There's the saying, stars are born. K-pop stars, however, are not born. They are made.
They are made. This is a whole different thing.
After the Korean War in 1953, Koreans finally achieved true democracy in 1987 by obtaining direct election rights. And this led to a breeding of a new generation of teenagers that were focused not on the collective goal or ideal, but individualism and uniqueness. However, the music industry failed to recognize this completely different consumer base.
South Koreans became familiar with Western pop culture. Western pop music developed with phonographs and radio stations. South Korean pop music, on the other hand, developed with the television. What we know as K-pop now really started in the early 90s.
Then came Seo and Boys,
who combined Korea's pop music with the Western influences of rap, rock, techno, and R&B, and started the craze that we know today.
That guy's like the grandfather of K-pop. I still haven't explored too much of his stuff, but he's like the guy that Psy basically gave it a worldwide stage, but he's the one who kind of started it off and made it massive in Korea. Do you understand what they're saying about how when we started music here in the West, it started with radio and phonographs and stuff, but since they were kind of developing a little bit later over in Korea, like they started basically with the MTV generation, and
TV,
that's
right?
yeah. So it exploded in that medium. So that in itself is just kind of an interesting facet of this whole story. But we'll get into that later.
This is what the teens were exactly craving for. It was like showing a light bulb to people living on kerosene lamps.
They keep on tackling social issues like reunification, environment, drugs, education. The Tupac of K-pop.
Seo and Boys disbanded after just 4 years. Seo changed the way Korean music and Korean society operates and thinks.
Now corporates see money in K-pop and idol businesses.
But what is the process behind generating South Korea's idols?
행사라던가 그 학교, 로드 캐스팅, 뭐 백화점, 뭐 어디든지 가서 그 인재를 발굴하는 그런 캐스팅 과정을 거쳐서요. 20-30명 정도의 그 좋은 친구들을 한 6개월에서 4-5년 정도 길게는 그렇게 트레이닝을 하게 되죠.
6 months up to 5 years.
Apprentices are here from 1 to 10 p.m. for 4 hours of lessons and 5 hours of practice. If they go to school, they have to be here from 6 to 10.
Singing class, dance class, house class, rap class, acting class, and language class. I received this kind of strict training every single day, from morning to nighttime.
What is it about Korea that is making this entertainment that doesn't just work domestically but internationally?
K-팝의 가장 큰 매력이 중독되는 멜로디가 있대요. 강렬한 퍼포먼스가 같이 이게 조합되는 게 굉장히 큰 시너지를 준다고. 얼굴이나 이런 거 봤을 때 완전 동양 사람인데 그런 서양의 느낌도 갖고 있으면서.
Anyone who's ever seen a K-pop video would know everyone just seems like these gods and goddesses of pop music.
Heavy makeup, all that stuff, very thin.
They're almost like untouchable. I think that's where the passion comes from too. They're just so high above you that you can't help but completely worship them.
한류 그 다음에 그런 아이콘, 새로운 문화 아이콘은 저희 때부터 시작을 할 것 같아요. 시작을 했고요.
Making their US TV debut, make some noise for BTS.
5년 후 정도 정말 이제 미국까지 완전 진출하는 그런 그룹이 동양에서 나오지 않을까 싶어요.
The K-pop band at the UN General Assembly, BTS, becoming the first Korean artist to headline Wembley Stadium.
It is BTS mania.
So as this whole thing starts, it's going to start kind of at the beginning of their musical journey. Now they're going to look very young. They look like little kids to me. When I first watched this, I'm like, these are children, and they kind of are children. One of them, I believe, is still JK. He's going to be the youngest in this group. I'll explain him later. But yeah, he's like still like in school.
Okay.
So as I was saying here, like K-pop stars aren't born, they're made. They go through extensive training. They have schooling. They do like 18 hours of like practicing.
Yeah, it's no joke.
From like in their classes, you just see like they have a rap class.
Like, yeah, that's awesome.
They got a rap class. They got a class in like.
I would like to do a lot of those classes.
I can see you being pretty good at those classes. But I'm gonna let this documentary do the explaining. I feel like I'm over-explaining stuff.
Yeah, everyone's saying they were babies.
Yeah. Well, I just remember kind of be taken aback when I first saw this. I'm like, oh, BTS are like little kids, but this is years ago. Korea looks beautiful too.
I was just thinking I would love to go.
Hey yo, Hitman Bang introduces Hit It, the second audition. 프로듀서 방시혁이고요. 2011년 Hit It 힙합 오디션 두 번째 기회로 여러분을 찾아왔습니다. 제가 힙합 문화를 이끌어갈 여러분들을 찾고 있는데요. 2011년 Hit It 오디션 방탄소년단의 멤버가 될 주인공을 기다리고 있습니다. 올해 Hit It 오디션에서는요, 작년과는 다르게 랩, 댄스, 노래까지 다양한 장르에서 배틀 형식으로 이루어질 예정인데요. 왜냐하면 힙합은 문화니까 얼마나 매력적인 분들이 또 얼마나 많이 참여해 주실지 너무 기대가 됩니다. 지금까지 hitman bang 방시혁이었습니다. 감사합니다.
빅히트 엔터테인먼트라는 방시혁 씨가 대표인 회사인데,
저는 음악을 듣는 사람들에게 울림을 줄 수 있는 컨텐츠를 정말 잘 만들어내는 것에 집착합니다.
2 years they search. So they take it serious.
Oh, it's very, very serious. This is a whole movement.
2013 itself, the number of prospective people that wanted to become K-pop singers reached past 1 million.
Getting into one of those entertainment agencies doesn't guarantee their debut these days.
방탄소년단의 모든 멤버는 지방에서 막 서울로 올라온 어린 학생들이었습니다. 우리 회사도 이른바 주류라고 볼 수는 없었죠. 그러나 한 가지 자신은 있었습니다. 이 빛나는 재능을 가진 친구들과 함께 의미 있는 무언가를 만들어낼 수 있을 것 같다는 확신이었습니다.
That guy's going to come into the story a lot. Bang, he's the kind of like the CEO, the producer of Big Hit. Now, at this point, Big Hit is kind of like one of the giant entertainment agencies out in South Korea, but they're the underdog. They don't have much funding at all. It's kind of like
so he's not one of the bigger.
No, he's small potatoes at this point. Like Big Hit is a very, very it's a very small brand at this point. But he approaches music writing and developing talent in a very, very unique way that you don't see not only in South Korea but anywhere across the globe. He had a very unique approach. I'm not going to tell you about that, but he does play a major part in the story here.
Okay,
let's continue.
I think what makes K-pop is the time that we spend as a trainee.
안녕하세요.
We all live together, sort of like a boarding school, like a training version.
So is this them young, you're saying?
This is them very young.
진짜
Yeah.
연습생 때 항상 여기를 다녔었고 또 이 밑이 바로 연습실이에요. 저희 지하층이. 그래서 저희가 연습실을 항상 다니면서 저희 이모님께서 너무 저희를 잘 챙겨주시고 심지어 방학 때는 하루에 2끼를 다 여기 와서 먹었어요.
Get some good eats before practice.
Yep.
That's sweet. Good manners.
Oh yeah, these guys are super humble. They're so kind to the staff and people that work with them and stuff.
너무 맛있었어요. What's up, everybody? This is Rap Monster from BTS, and I'm here for the first English song. Finally. 네, 안녕하세요. 랩몬스터입니다. 20살의 리더고요. 이름처럼 팀에서 랩을 맡고 있습니다. 제가 언더그라운드로 원래 가려고 했었는데 근데 이제 그 기획사 언더그라운드에 유명한 기획사가 있었거든요. 언터처블의 슬리피 선배님이랑 화요비 선배님이 같이 오셨어요. 그래서 저를 보시고 아마 슬리피 선배님이 저를 마음에 들어 하신 건지 연락처를 주시고 가셨습니다. I've been rapping for like
His English is
2007.
so good.
It's like 7 years. When I came here, it was
like,
2010.
Believe it or not, he has a genius level IQ. He's fantastic. It's kind of crazy.
You don't need to dance first, but you know it has changed. The project, the whole thing was changing, and I had to dance, you know, to survive. I don't know how to move my body, you know, like technically or beautifully. So I was really angry and I was just stressed out. As time passed by, my dancing teachers, they showed me that dancing is a cool thing. I have to go now. Okay, so finish. Dance is cool. Dance is good stuff, right? Right. But rapping is cooler. Hip hop.
You can do both.
Thank you.
And you're even cooler.
That's kind of his foundation.
2013년 1월 24일 지낼지. 안녕하세요. 방탄소년단의 맏형 진입니다. 나이는 22살이고
See, I like this
팀에서
because they're,
보컬을 맡고 있습니다.
sorry to interrupt, but I'm actually seeing each one of them and they're kind of just giving a brief story of who they are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I have no idea.
Well, you gotta, like, if you want to think about like where they started and where they came from and everything, since they were in Big Hit, the small entertainment company, they didn't have the money to promote themselves. They couldn't get on, you know, TV for the shows and stuff, which we'll get into later. That's a big part of Korean culture and everything, award shows and music shows. They didn't have the money or the time slots or like the pull to be able to get in those sort of things. So in order to get their audience, what they did is they did those little like candid moments, like RM just talking on camera like that. And what happened there was fans got to meet them kind of almost at a personal level. Kind of like, hey, this is what happened during my day. This is how I'm feeling right now. What's going on? And I don't know if other K-pop artists were doing that, but they weren't doing it as intensely and as like religiously as BTS. They all have these little like candid moments where they kind of let you in their day-to-day life. Now, doing this for years over time, building an audience on YouTube and other social media platforms, they were able to kind of like do a grassroots movement for themselves and kind of move up, which is a thing that plays into the massive underdog story that is BTS. But yeah, I'm glad you're liking this documentary. It's one of my favorites.
저 같은 경우는 학교를 등교를 하다가 길거리 캐스팅을 오늘은 다시 추워진 것 같다. 오랜만에 다시 겨울이 온 것 같았고 감기에 걸리지 않으려면 옷을 든든히 입어야겠다고 생각했다. 가족이 주위에서 날 챙겨주지 않으니 내가 챙겨야겠다는 그런 생각을 했다. 2013년 1월 24일 지낼지.
Now he's the oldest.
He's the oldest at 22.
Okay, so we've met the youngest and now the oldest.
No, this is actually the youngest.
Oh, I see.
Jungkook. I can never say this guy's name right. I've been following them for a year and I still can't say their names. I just call him JK. But this is actually the youngest. I think I saw chat say that he was like 15 or something during this time period.
Okay, so I'm sorry. I thought the
RM, the first guy.
I thought the very first guy was the youngest.
No, that's RM. He's the leader. Yes, see, baby.
Okay, baby
13.
JK.
He's 13 right here.
So this man here is 13.
Yes, that boy there is 13.
Yeah.
And their aging system's a little bit weird. They're born at like 1 year old. That's a conversation for a different time. But like how they age themselves is like different. Like we don't have our young 1 year like birthday till a year after we're born.
Correct.
They like come out of the womb and they're like 1 year old.
Oh.
Something like that.
I mean, at least make it 9 months. You're 9 months old. A little over 9 months. That's how old you are.
Someone say he's 15 here at this point.
Yeah, 13 when he joined Big Hit and 15 at the debut. Okay, but 13 is still very young.
That's the whole thing, yeah.
Excuse me.
So you got people that are the oldest, which is Jin, who as of right now is 22. And this guy's like 15.
Yeah.
So he's kind of like...
started at 13.
Started at 13. So
yeah, he joined at 13.
Yeah. No, they have changed their age system to an international age. Yeah, I'll have to look at it a little bit later. Someone explained it to me before. I might be explaining it wrong, but it's something kind of different like that.
2013년 2월 8일 전국의 일지
방탄의 막내 정국입니다. 나이는 17이고요. 팀에서 춤, 노래를 담당하고 있습니다.
근데 자기가 슈퍼스타 K를 보고 떨어졌는데 오디션에서 명함을 많이 받았다. 그러면서 명함들을 이렇게
지금 시간에 11시 39분 댄스 레슨을 마쳐 왔는데 오늘은 드디어 내가 졸업을 했다.
Oh wow. Good for him.
기분이 엄청 좋을 줄 알았는데 막상 졸업을 해보니
These kids have more drive and motivation than most adults.
The work ethic with these guys and all of them, honestly.
You can see it. He's on top of training, God knows how many hours daily. He's also just graduated middle school.
Yeah.
Like, wow.
Well, yeah, and if you look at these things, the one thing that I noticed right off the bat, and somebody even mentioned in chat, is they look so tired. And there's a reason for that. It's because of what goes into this. Your entire life revolves around this. You eat, sleep, and breathe it.
BTS, yeah.
And there is no guarantee that you're going to make it. There's no guarantee that people are going to like you. There's no guarantee you're ever going to see a stage. In fact, most don't. So it's kind of like a disheartening kind of process because you're constantly like, is this even worth it? Should I be focusing on other things?
Right.
Like,
you just don't know.
Right.
But
so okay, so I guess this is his little fan or his little cam moment.
It's a lot to take in.
Oh yeah.
막내 졸업식에 진영이랑 나랑 슈가 형이랑 같이 갔는데 약간은 의젓해지지 않을까 하는 기대도 가져본다.
I've heard him jimin.
Oh yeah.
I think the girls seem to love jimin.
수민입니다. 나이는 19이고요. 팀에서 춤과 보컬을 맡고 있습니다.
부산에 있을 때 부산 예고에 다닐 때는 제가 무용을 배웠었는데요.
저한테는 진짜 어려운 과제였던 것 같아요.
그때부터 항상 춤을 췄기 때문에
Dancing is one of his specialties.
랩몬스터 형이랑 슈가 형이랑 작업 때문에 일찍 못 내려가는 건 되게 안타깝게 생각하고 있는데 얼른 끝내고 푹 쉬러 갔으면 좋겠고 나도 이제 쉬러 갑니다.
평가 끝나고 점수 같은 거 나와요. 누가 A고 누가 B고 누가 C고
오늘의 할당 몸무게가 있어요. 몇 그램 빼고 막
Yeah, that's a whole different
그래서
disturbing
그거를
thing.
하루에 무조건 빼야 귀가를 할 수 있는 못 빼면은? 못 빼면 뺄 때까지 하다 가야 돼요. 근데 그러고 나서 월말 평가 때 몸무게가 안 나오면은 진짜로 잘라버리는 거예요, 사람을.
아웃되는 친구들이 한 명, 두 명 정도는 있어야 얘네들이 자극을 받고 더 노력을 하지 않을까 싶기도 합니다.
같이 연습하다가 갑자기 울고 있어요. 너 왜 울어? 나 잘렸어. 그런 친구들이 너무 많아요. 갑자기 불안감 오면서 나도 언젠간 저렇게 될 수 있는 거구나.
그런 식으로 이렇게 뭐 이건 데뷔는 없다, 뭐 앞으로 앨범은 없다 이렇게 아니면 뭐 누구 나가라 이렇게 되는 경우가 많죠. 경쟁, so 경쟁, everything was 경쟁 that time.
연습생들끼리 엄청 경쟁이 심하대요. 데뷔를 하려고.
I remember having to send a good friend of mine home every month because they got eliminated from the test. Like, it's really harsh.
It wasn't a very happy vibe.
Starting at such a young age, I was just like, okay, if that's what it is, I have to do it. If that's what I want, if I want to chase my dreams, that's what I have to do.
The K-pop industry has faced criticism for its handling of trainees. Still, the lure of becoming a K-pop idol remains a huge draw for many.
You read the news
there's
back
a dark
home,
side to all
and,
this.
and there's all the sorts of fear around K-pop
there's a
and
dark
how
side to the
it's treating the idols badly. But
music industry here,
we do
too.
the same with football academies.
Yeah.
We do it with.
But the thing is these are just children out there, that they're starving and that they're working to death and doing almost psychological warfare on. It's incredibly manipulative, and it's a different conversation for once we get further in this documentary. And I've got a lot of issues with a lot of this, but we'll get to that later.
Mm-hmm.
But you're right. I mean, in the music industry in America, there's plenty of things to talk about that are not exactly admirable either.
No. All sorts of sport, you have to start kids young because that's how you develop the muscle memory. Is it any different to what we do? I don't know. I don't think so.
(2013년 2월 14일) 제이홉의 첫 로고. 해피 발렌타인데이.
Valentine's Day.
네, 안녕하세요. 제이홉입니다. 나이는 20살이고요. 팀에서 랩, 춤, 노래를 담당하고 있고 이름처럼 희망적인 존재입니다.
광주에서 막 이제 서울 올라와가지고 아무것도 모르고 죽기 살기로 서바이벌 그런 오디션을 생활을 겪으면서 그렇게 지내고 지금까지 춰왔던 춤을 더 프로답고 더 멋있게 잘 추고 싶다. 이 두 가지 목표를 꼭 이뤄서 방탄이 데뷔할 때 대중분들께나 팬분들께 꼭 좋은 모습으로 보여드리고 싶다. 2013년 2월 14일 제이홉의 첫 로그 끝.
준비 단계에서 사실 위기가 많이 있었어요. 방탄소년단으로 합류하기까지 위기가 많이 있었는데 그때마다 정말 놀라울 정도의 그 발전들을 미션들을 이제 다 클리어해 오더라고요.
연습 시간을 강제하지도 않았고 생활을 통제하지도 않았습니다. 모든 것에 자유를 주고 멤버들이 자발적으로 참여할 수 있게 했습니다. 그들에게 딱 한 가지만을 요구했습니다. 방탄소년단의 음악은 방탄소년단 내면에 있는 이야기가 되어야 한다는 것이었죠.
2013년 3월 5일 슈가의 로그.
약자를 약하게 만들고 강자를 강하게 만들었지. 강자니까 약한 자 당연히 그렇게 당하게 만들었지.
안녕하세요, 슈가입니다. 나이는 21살이고요. 팀에서 랩을 맡고 있습니다. 저 같은 경우는 이제 2010년에 저희 회사에서 이제 지금 히릿이라는 전국 랩 오디션이 있었는데 2등을 해서 네, 이제 회사에 들어오게 됐습니다. 그리고 연습생이 되었죠.
일주일 넘게 지금 타이틀곡 작업을 하느라 약간 강행군을 하고 있는데 나의 인내심의 한계를 느끼고 있다. 수도 없이 많은 수정들을 하고 있어서 어쩔 수 없이 아침에 잘 수밖에 없는 상황이 됐다. 빨리 여러분께 좋은 음악을 들고 찾아갔으면 하는 바람이 크다. 요즘 형들을 보면 정말
Yeah, they use that term a lot. Hyung or whatever. It's a term of respect.
It's like elders, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Older than themselves. Yeah.
우리 형들은 매일 한 6시나 7시쯤에 들어와서 자는데 정말 대단한 것 같다. 아이고, 고생이 많습니다. 이제 식단도 하고 있고.
You started a diet.
그리고 이번 주 들어서 이제 자켓 앨범 사진을 대비해서 이제 프로필 사진을 찍었는데
Yeah, their dietary restrictions are a whole different conversation. You like that? Yep. That's from their first album. Maybe I'll show you that later.
괜찮은 것 같아요. 역시 저는 슈가 씨의 사진이 제일 마음에 들어요.
당연히 전정국이죠. 이 사람이 제일 잘 나온 것 같아요. 누군지 모르겠는데 아우 잘생겼어.
Is it him?
I didn't say.
He said, I don't know who this is, but he's handsome.
일단 저는 아니에요. 최초로 양심적인 이제 진영이 슈가나 지민이 잘 나왔어. 지민이 잘 나왔어. 지민이.
Nice young boy with an H in front of it. Like Hung. Hyung.
빨리 찍고
Yeah.
할 말이 있는데 오늘은 우리 팀의 특징에 대해서 일단 우리 팀의 리더 포스가 최고인 것 같다. 그런데 우리 팀 리더의 장난기가 많아서 귀여운 면도 엄청 많다는 사실. 그리고 하고자 하는 게 있으면 꼭 해야 돼서 정말 멋있는 형인 것 같다. 그다음 슈가 형. 우리 슈가 형은 옆집 동네 형 같다. 장난기가 너무 많고 연습실에서 막 연습하는 거 보면 진짜 멋있다. 다른 사람 같아. 그리고 막내 귀엽다. 하는 짓도 어벙벙, 말하는 것도 어벙벙. 내가 얘를 귀엽다고 하면 다 이상하게 생각할 것 같다. 아무튼 귀엽다. 그리고 우리 팀 마태형, 지진형 보다 알다시피 우리 팀 비주얼이라서 잘생겼다. 그래서 가끔 부럽다. 요리도 잘한다. 그리고 우리 팀의 제이홉 형 로고 찍을 때
He's cringy. Jay helps a lot.
바지를 샀다!
I bought new pants.
소리 안 맞아? 소리 안 맞아?
그래도 우리 팀의 엄마 같은
He's the mother
존재야.
hen.
춤도 잘 추고 춤 잘 추는 엄마? 그런 느낌?
So a mother that dances well?
그리고 우리 팀의 매력을 한몫하는 것 같다. 그렇지 않는가? 친구들이 그랬는데 다 특이하고 귀여운 것 같아.
We're all so unique and I think we're cute.
일단 이거 말한 건 비밀이고 2013년 3월 25일 지민의 일지 끝!
정말 시기가 다가오고 있다는 걸 좀 몸소 절절하게 좀 느꼈고
We're talking about the debut.
내일부터는 정말 지금 폭풍 전야인 것 같다. 내일부터는 진짜 뭔가 각오가 돼서 왔다. 열심히 달리고 하면 안 될 것도 없을 것 같다는 생각이다.
You're so driven.
Yeah. That's a great way to describe what they are.
So driven. And they don't like blame each other for like it's. They all like sit down like with their diary logs. Obviously, I'm noticing, and instead of being like, oh, this one could be doing better, they're always like, oh, I need to do better.
Yep.
And bring my A game and me, and that's good.
Yeah, I mean, the personalities, and you kind of get to know what each one of them bring to the table. And, like, it's one of the fun things about discovering this band. But, yeah, they're incredibly wholesome, just really good, nice kids at this point.
Exactly.
They look out for each other. And at first I thought, I'm like, oh, man, this is cool. They're like a group of, like, really close friends. Mm-hmm. But as this thing continues and as you get to learn a little bit more about them, you'll notice how actually deep their bond is with each other. At this point, they're living together in kind of what's like a dorm house. Mm-hmm. They're sharing bedrooms. They've got bunk beds. They got all this stuff.
So they're a family at this point, yeah.
It took me a while to kind of catch on to that. I'm like, oh, okay, they're like really good friends and like they're really nice to each other or whatever. But they constantly are always thinking about each other or doing something for another. Like that's kind of a big part of the appeal of these guys. Mm-hmm. Is like at their heart, they're actually just really good people. And this is just kind of an introduction to how they started. And but you'll learn a lot more about that as we keep going. But yeah, no, good eye. Good eye.
We are bulletproof.
요즘 들어 바쁜 나날들을 보내고 있는데 댄스 8시간에 끝나고 바로 녹음을 한다.
Essentially they're working out for 8 hours.
3년 동안 연습을 하면서 그런 핏땀이 서려있는 그런 곡이 아닌가 싶습니다.
뭔가 좀 되게 친구들 다 대학 가고 캠퍼스 가서 이제 뭐 연애도 하고 뭐 그런 거 보면 듣고 보면 뭔가 조금 부럽기도 하고 솔직히 그렇죠. 하지만 우린 데뷔를 할 거니까 그래 그렇지.
So that's a sacrifice that they have to make. I mean, obviously you remember being early 20s, going out partying, doing whatever, doing that.
They don't
whole
have the
scene.
chance to do that.
They're kind of robbed of their youth in a way. Mm-hmm. Like they're not able to go out and like drink and party and hang out with people or whatever. It's just constant work. And all for something that literally has a table stacked against them. They're in this small company. Like you don't know if anybody's actually going to like them. And there's so many idols or trainee idols, which is what they're kind of going to become, mm-hmm. that like it's so easy just to kind of fail at this or just be passed over for the next big thing. So like everything is stacked up against them and they're sacrificing kind of their youth for this.
모든 사람의 부러움을 가지고.
힘들지 않나? 안 힘듭니다. 요즘은 너무 아프다. 힘들고 아프고 지치고 피곤하.
I tried to quit the team because of just dance. You know, it was exhausting me.
수면 상하지가 않는데 오늘은 특별하게 지옥이었어. 너무 힘들었어요. 생각만 끔찍해.
And he's like a star dancer.
위아래플래프 파트 2 안무에 개인 안무에서 무릎을 찍으면서 그런 동작이 있는데 바닥에 무릎을 찍다 보니 허벅지 쪽이 살짝 부상이 있어가지고 허벅지에 피를 뽑은 적이 있어요.
뭐 응원 메시지 많이 보내주세요. 그러나 다 보고 확인하고 있으니까
힘이 듭니다.
진짜 힘이 들고 진짜.
밴탄 화이팅! 화이팅! 그런 기념으로 오늘의 녹음은 끝!
All their hard work, I'm sure, paid off.
Oh yeah. But at this point, it's still undecided. Everything's up in the air.
열심히 준비했고 정말 우리들의 이야기로
like me watching these now and going back to it, like I see a certain nervousness in them that I didn't notice before. You know, when I first got into them, like, oh, okay, yeah, they're excited about what's going on. But like now that I've taken about a year to kind of like get to know them and their personalities and everything, like when they're doing these cams, I'm noticing 1, they're tired, and 2, there's a certain like nervousness there that I didn't notice the very first time.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, yeah, I guess that's the best way to describe it.
만든 음악들이다. 추월 거짓도 없고 가사도 정말 중점적으로 잘 들어봐 주시면 좋겠고 퍼포먼스도 기대해 주셨으면 좋겠다. 화이팅이다 모두들. 바쁘게 살자. 방탄소년단 화이팅.
2013년 5월 17일 방탄의 로그! 사실 이제 이 로그를 끝으로 이제 저희가 데뷔 전까지는 로고가 없을 것 같습니다.
아쉽네요.
아쉽다.
다음에 또 만나요.
때 이제는 우리가 헤어져야 할 시간 다음에 또 만나요. 여러분 생각해요.
아 그건 제 역할이라니까요.
해줘. 사랑해요 여러분. 2013년 5월 17일 방탄의 로그 여기서
He does a big heart.
Oh yeah, there's
Instead of that.
well, there's a different one too.
안녕하세요. 조이입니다.
오래전부터 멤버들이랑 같이 생활했다.
네가 잘했는데 다른 사람 다 틀렸다 생각하는 네가 아직도? 어떻게 할까?
기대해 주시기 바랍니다. 내 생일이었다. 스케줄상, 시간상 담지 못했다. 난 나에게 생일 케이크를 바치고 싶다.
You get yourself a birthday cake.
빰빠밤빰빰빰. 와, 딸기 보소.
언제부턴가 점점 연락하게 된 내가 먼저 네가 없는 곳에선 벌써 널 베이비로 불러 나도 참 웃겨 You're my candy, a lollipop candy I really wanna love you
우린 하고 그냥 그러면 얘기해. 벌써 틀었어? 아니 미안하다. 미안합니다. 데뷔한 나 열흘 남지 않았다. 여러분들의 많은 기대와 응원을 부탁드립니다.
All right, so that is chapter 1. They kind of gave us a little sneak peek as to what's going to be coming next. Let me just kill this over here. Get rid of this so we can actually...
Busy guys.
Yeah, very busy guys. Pretty cool series though, huh?
Yeah, definitely. And it helped break down a little bit and gave me a little backstory on each, which was cool.
Yeah, definitely. I was really surprised by this whole series, this documentary. Like, I was scouring the internet to try and find information when I was doing my thing, and I was just like, everything was out of whack as the timeline went on, and I wasn't getting the full picture of like their story. And that's what really intrigued me was, what is their story? Where did they come from? How does this even happen? But through this whole documentary, you're going to learn more about the K-pop industry, about what it takes to become an idol, you know, and like how difficult it is. And this first episode kind of explains some of that.
Yeah, it sounds brutal.
Dude, it's so brutal. Like the intensity and like I can barely even explain it. But, you know, having a little bit of experience in the music industry myself and seeing how we do it over here in America, you know, you start a band with your buddies in the garage and then you get bigger and bigger and bigger and you just kind of move on. It's different over there. They're schooling for this, and it's not like college where like we go to Berkeley or whatever. It starts at a very, very young age, and they got to make a lot of sacrifices. You know?
Oh, absolutely. The poor kid missed his own birthday. He couldn't even celebrate.
Oh, shoot, it happens all the time, and honestly, even to this day, they still have to make these incredible sacrifices.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah. But I mean, you like the series?
Yes.
Well, next week we're going to get into the chapter 2, which is Begin, which is actually going to start right from their debut, like
cool.
their first.
Yeah, where we kind of left off. Exactly. They were all excited about and talking about. So.
Right. Everything they've been working up towards.
Debut.
Yes.
All right.
Cool. But yeah, that was The Rise of Bangtan Chapter 1. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed that. If you're new around here, please consider liking and subscribing. And I think that's going to do it for us, right?
We're not doing this, Gary?
Yeah, we're just ending this segment.
That's going to do it.
Thanks for watching.
See you later.
Bye-bye.